Hey everyone, and welcome to 5-Minute Fridays. Well, today's video is going to be a little bit of an intro video of the topic that we're going to be looking at over the next 4 weeks. And so we did this with prayer a few months ago. We spent 3 weeks looking at prayer. And so this topic, we're actually going to spend the next 4 weeks digging deep and learning more about this topic and what it means to us as Christians. So this topic we're going to be looking at is faith. And faith is the most important thing. I said before about prayer that prayer is the most important discipline in the Christian life, which it is. But without faith, prayer is useless because the Lord is not hearing us. And so I am so excited to spend these next 4 weeks. And so let's have a little introduction into what faith is and why I chose this topic. Well, the Lord has been speaking to me about this topic for a while. At church, I've been teaching through Galatians here and there on Wednesday nights, and Paul speaks so much about faith. And in my own personal study, I've happened to be going through Romans, where he also speaks about faith. And specifically, he's always going back and forth about the faith of Abraham versus the law of Moses, and how the faith of Abraham trumps the law of Moses. And it came before the law. The law could never save us. The law points out our sin and shows us and points us that we need a savior. But the faith of Abraham is what saved him. He was righteous because of his faith, Paul says. And so that got me interested in a book that was given to me a few years ago called Unshaken by Crawford Lourdes. So I encourage you to check that book out because these videos are going to be dissecting that book and kind of going over what the author talks about, because he does such a great job communicating and helping us and helping me understand more about faith. And so the next 4 weeks, we're going to be looking at 4 different aspects of faith. Next week, we'll be looking at obedience, that faith is obedience. And the following weeks, we'll be looking that faith is destiny, faith is mission, and faith is endurance. And so what is faith? Does the Bible define faith? Actually, it really doesn't. It doesn't define what faith is, but it talks about it. It gives us examples and it shows us what it looks like. And Hebrews chapter 11 does a great job with that. This chapter has been called the Hall of Faith because it talks about these Old Testament men and women who exemplified faith and what it looked like in their life. And so we'll be looking specifically at this chapter. And in verse 1 of Hebrews 11, it talks about faith, and it says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen." And so there we see that faith is hope, and it gives us hope in things that we haven't seen. I don't know about you. Please reach out to me if you have. But I haven't seen God or seen Jesus, or I haven't had or heard his audible voice, but I still have faith in him. I have faith in something I haven't heard or I haven't seen. The reason I have faith in that is because I have concrete evidence of God, creation, the Bible, Jesus coming to this earth 2,000 years ago, all the things he did and the eyewitness testimonies, all the prophecies fulfilled. Just there's so much evidence that points to the fact that God and Jesus and the Bible are real things. And so my faith is what makes it real and what makes me believe in it. And it's the evidence of things not seen. Like I said, we have so much evidence for this faith that we have. Here are some one-liners the author speaks about in faith in the introduction. He says, "Without faith, there is no Christianity and there is no Christian living. Our faith is what redeems us and redefines us, and it does so with our circumstances. Our circumstances do not define us." I like that a lot. Our circumstances do not define us because we think so many times that they do. And they have an effect on us, but they don't define us. God defines you, and what his word says defines who you are, and what your future holds for you. The author says that our impact and our effectiveness as followers of Christ is in direct proportion to our faith-filled obedience as we face challenges and opportunities God places before us. And so next week, we're going to look at that faith is obedience. And finally, in the introduction, the author says that faith gives us confidence in God. And the Bible calls this confident faith enduring faith. So like I said before, that our faith isn't blind. We have concrete evidence and we have an enduring faith. And I love that, enduring faith, and we'll be looking at that as well. Well, finishing off here in that chapter, Hebrews 11, verse 8, the writer says this. He says, without faith, it is impossible to please God. For whoever would draw near to God must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who seek him. So faith is so important for us to please God, right? For us to draw near to God, to hear from him, and for us to be rewarded from God. Faith results in salvation, sanctification, all these things that we learn about, justification, being saved, salvation, a relationship with God. That's all because of your faith in what Jesus has done. So I'm excited about this topic. I hope you tune in for the next few weeks. Be blessed. I'll see you next week.